Are you finding yourself excessively bloated, full, burping constantly, and even trying not to spit up while burping after a meal? Do you occasionally feel a warming or burning sensation at the bottom of your throat, or the feeling that there's an improperly swallowed pill stick in your throat? Do you find that food just seems to sit in your stomach for hours and take forever to digest? If you've been struggling with just a couple of these symptoms, these are sure signs that you've been experiencing heartburn, or what is now understood in modern medicine as low stomach acid. Yes, you heard right. Heartburn is actually the result of low stomach acid production. What doctors have discovered is that when the stomach doesn't produce enough acid to digest food, the esophageal sphincter at the bottom of the throat, which is responsible for keeping the barrier between the throat and the stomach closed, becomes loose, resulting in minor splashing, leaking, and gravitation upflow of stomach acid and contents when laying down.
Gross, right?
About 15% of Americans suffer with chronic heartburn. That amounts to tens of millions of people. Wow, what a drag. Here are the causes of acid reflux from most common to least common, along with the subsequent remedies, eating before going to sleep. The unsuspecting mistake that we often find ourselves making is eating a big meal quickly and not giving ourselves the time to feel the sensation of being full. Then an hour or an hour and a half later, it hits us and we feel totally stuffed. Well, even a small meal is enough to cause a lot of digestive discomfort if you don't give yourself enough time to digest it before taking a nap or going to bed. All the processes of the body slow down and rest during sleep, and your digestive system is no exception. Give yourself between 1.5 and 3.5 hours of time to digest a meal before going to sleep. The amount of time you give yourself will depend on the size of the meal, of course. But doing this will prevent acid reflux during sleep entirely. Stress. Reducing stress to digest better may sound like something a health nut would advocate as an ideal step for digestion that doesn't make a noticeable difference, but the reality is, from my own experience and yours, digesting food in a normal, relaxed state makes all the difference. Even a slight hum of anxiety or nervousness is enough to engage the sympathetic nervous system and shut down stomach acid production, causing significant bloating and acid reflux. In fact, more than half of Americans with chronic low stomach acid have it because of chronic stress, either from their current lifestyle or from nervous system damage that was caused by a prolonged period of acute stress from traumatic events in the past. If you have indigestion due to stress, then your body is not relaxed enough to produce sufficient stomach acid, and at the same time, it is depleted of essential minerals like magnesium and zinc, which it needs for proper digestion. If you have indigestion due to stress, then your body is not relaxed enough to produce sufficient stomach acid, and at the same time, it is depleting itself of essential minerals like magnesium, salt, and zinc more than usual. Salt is necessary for the actual production of stomach acid, since it is one of the ingredients in the acid itself. So make sure to get enough sea salt or Himalayan pink salt in your diet, and supplement the other minerals. I've found magnesium to have the most profound effect on my digestion because it relaxes my entire nervous system and allows my body to excrete stomach acid and enzymes normally. Now, instead of taking 5 to 7 capsules of betaine hydrochloride as I'm eating, I just take 1 capsule of magnesium about 5 minutes before eating a meal. I've found that 50 milligrams is enough for large snacks, and 100 milligrams is perfect for large meals. I don't need more than that per meal. There are many types of magnesium. Magnesium bisglycinate is a good multifunction magnesium, which also helps with digestion. But magnesium oxide and magnesium malate are particularly helpful in metabolizing carbohydrates and proteins. A high-quality magnesium is worth your money if your acid reflux is caused by stress, poor sleep, It shouldn't come as a surprise that many functions of the body, such as the cardiovascular system, the immune system, and the digestive system, become compromised when we don't sleep properly. From my experience with years of insomnia, I always knew which days my digestion was going to struggle if I were to eat normally. Keep observing how your body responds to meals and see whether or not there's any improvement after a full night's rest. Diet. The kinds of food we eat can promote acid reflux to some extent. Many doctors say to avoid spicy, citrus, deep-fried, processed food, grains, caffeine, alcohol, and smoking. But what tends to have a bigger impact on improving digestion is food combining and how much we eat per meal. It wasn't very long ago when nutritionists hypothesized that eating carbs and protein foods together could be counterproductive to the digestive system. This was because protein and fats take longer to digest and require different enzymes than carbohydrates. So to combine all three of these food groups at once could be challenging for the stomach. With this consideration, the solution would be to eat fats and protein together as they digest very well as a pair, and to eat carbs separately. This practice works well with a keto or intermittent fasting diet, since the body needs more carbohydrates in the evening to refuel itself during sleep. In a similar way, eating and drinking separately will certainly make a very big difference in your digestion, as you won't be diluting your stomach acid with liquids. Also, if your body can stay healthy with less food, then eating smaller meals will help a lot. Caffeine promotes acid reflux because when we consume it, our body actually becomes stressed and secretes hormones like adrenaline to give us that immediate, stimulating boost of energy. But as I mentioned earlier, stress engages the sympathetic nervous system, which shuts down the rest and digest functions. Apple cider vinegar and lemon or lime juice are exceptions to a low stomach acid diet because they tend to improve digestion by promoting stomach acid production. There are many ways you can consume apple cider vinegar, which are beyond the scope of this presentation. But for digestion, it is recommended to drink between 1 teaspoon and a tablespoon of ACV diluted in water, with a 5 to 10 dilution ratio a few minutes before having a meal. This can be done with every meal. Never consume dietary acids like apple cider vinegar, lemon juice, or betaine hydrochloride on an empty stomach, as they are powerful and designed to be consumed with food. Betaine hydrochloric acid is also a natural and highly effective acid supplement that works within minutes of taking it. Most people with low acid or hypochlorhydria need to take between 5 and 7 capsules per meal. That may sound like a lot, but if you were to open up those capsules and pour all the contents onto a tablespoon, you would end up with about 1 tablespoon of acid, which is perfect for digesting a big meal. Betaine hydrochloride is supplemented differently than apple cider vinegar, however. It must be taken during or right after a meal so that it can begin breaking down the food right away and not work against an empty stomach. You can take a few capsules of this hydrochloric acid with every meal, but it would be better to treat the cause of your acid reflux rather than the symptoms alone. Being overweight, having a large amount of fat around your belly can supposedly push the belly and stomach up slightly and promote the opening of the esophageal sphincter and cause acid reflux. SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. SIBO tends to come from eating a lot of sugar on a regular basis or being constipated frequently for weeks or months. This makes the stomach turn to its bacterial stores to break down food through fermentation, leading to bloating, gas, and slow digestion. H. pylori is a surprisingly common bacteria that is responsible for some cases of low stomach acid. This bacteria produces an enzyme called urease, which neutralizes stomach acid. If you address the aforementioned causes of acid reflux and find that you're still having problems, then it could be that you have a bacterial infection from H. pylori or a yeast infection from Candida. If you suspect this, I suggest that you search online for a health organization that provides bacterial and yeast infection stool test services, since many doctors do not understand acid reflux to be low stomach acid and will only suggest testing with a capsule endoscopy, a camera down the gastrointestinal tract, and then prescribe anti-acid pills which only make the problem worse in the long run. I'm talking pneumonia, osteoporosis, B12 deficiency, malnutrition, and even less, stomach acid. It also makes the pharmaceutical industry a lot of money. Antacids such as Tums, Rolaids, Nexium, Prevacid, Prilosec, Zegerid, Gaviscon, and Purple Pill have the leading sales, and yet they don't even work. Hypothyroidism. In some cases, a suppressed immune system from hypothyroidism can create an alkaline environment in the body, resulting in low stomach acid.